We're going to get some analysis on this with Sahar Khamis. She's a fellow with the Middle East Council on Global Affairs. And Sahar, when you see these crowds that are out in Ramallah, despite the fact that Israel has said they don't want to see grand gestures of celebration or joy from Palestinians, people here are sending a message to Israel, to the international community, that they will celebrate as they can and continue to fight for their freedoms.
Thank you so much for having me. Absolutely. I mean, some of these people have been waiting for their loved ones for years and years. Some of them have been waiting for more than 10 years. Some of them have been waiting for more than 20 years for the return of their loved ones, whether it's a husband or a son or a cousin or whoever has been behind bars for a long time. So it's very hard to tell people not to express joy and happiness and celebration when they're actually expecting their loved ones after such a long time. But let me also add that Israel's reservations about this issue is not just the expression of joy by the Palestinians and the coverage by media, which obviously is something that Israel is not happy about. There have also been messages from the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu saying that these are quote unquote horrific and shocking images of the exchanges happening amid these big and huge crowds. And by that, he meant also the release of some of the captives from Hamas side. And he said that this expresses or this shows some kind of disregard for the safety and well-being of these hostages who are released amid such huge crowds, because that can threaten their own safety and well-being. And therefore, he threatened any kind of harm to any of these hostages during or after the release from Hamas's side. So there is some kind of concern from the Israeli side, which is very much complicated and complex, and it has more than one side and more than one concern.
Do you think that concern is also coming? You mentioned the Hamas release of the hostages in Gaza, and it wasn't just the hostage release from Gaza today, but the last two occasions that we've seen that release. And Hamas had a stage, they had slogans up denouncing Zionism. And of course, these are images that are broadcast around the world, including in Israel. Hamas certainly trying to send a message here. What are they signaling to Israel and to the world?
Of course, I mean, it's a message of quote unquote victory from Hamas's side saying, at the end of the day, we were able to get a ceasefire. At the end of the day, we were able to get this kind of deal rolling. We were able to hold the hostages for as long as we can in order to make sure we have our own conditions or our own demands met as much as possible. And today is our quote unquote victory day. This kind of message framing from the side of Hamas is certainly very much unwelcomed and unappreciated from the Israeli side, as you can imagine, because as you just mentioned now, it is not done privately, it's not done behind closed doors, it is done in front of cameras rolling and in front of the eyes of the international community, the global community, including Israelis themselves. And therefore that explains the warning messages and the angry messages from Benjamin Netanyahu, who threatened that if such scenes are repeated again, there could be some consequences, including delaying further release of Palestinian prisoners.
You speak about Hamas trying to show that there has been a victory, but that victory, if that is the right word to use here, has come at a cost, of course. The number of Palestinians who have been killed in Gaza, at least 48,000. Most of the enclave has been completely decimated, and there is a massive humanitarian crisis there. These are also things that can't be ignored, that have also happened because of the war.
Absolutely. I mean, when you talk about 48,000 people killed, don't forget those who have been completely disappearing under the rubbles. Without any trace, people cannot find out if they're alive or dead or lost. That is huge. If you add all of these together, the estimate could be more than 150,000 people. And that is really a staggering number, not to mention, of course, the demolition of the infrastructure, the loss of hospitals and schools and universities, and the list can go on and on. But I think what Hamas signals as quote unquote a victory from their own perspective is the resilience. The resilience of the Palestinian people, the fact that they did not just kneel down and, raise the white flag, they were still fighting until the very last breath. The fact that maybe Israel did not accomplish all of its geostrategic and political goals from this kind of campaign or this kind of warfare on Gaza, which maybe it has expected to be a lot easier, faster, and quicker than what we actually saw over the last brutal 15 months.
Sahar Khamis from the Middle East Council on Global Affairs, great to get your perspective. Thank you very much.